Good afternoon, students. Welcome to today's tele-education class. So, students, today we are going to learn about punctuation. So, I think all of you know what punctuation is. Okay, so let us now look at some sentences and let us see how we can punctuate those sentences correctly. Okay, so how a punctuation mark can change the meaning of a sentence. Okay, so if you do not put the correct punctuation marks in sentence, then the sentence, what? The meaning of the sentence might change, okay? And it might give as a different meaning. Okay, now let us see. So, Amitabh Bachchan said, Amir Khan is the greatest actor. Okay, now, by looking at this sentence, we can understand that Amitabh Bachchan has said that Amir Khan is the greatest actor. Now, let us see. See, now can you all see a change in the punctuation marks? Yes, isn't it? So Amitabh Bachchan said Amir Khan is the greatest actor. Okay. So in the first sentence, we have seen that Amitabh Bachchan said that Amir Khan is the greatest actor. But in the next sentence, we have seen that Amitabh Bachchan said Amir Khan. That means Amir Khan said that Amitabh Bachchan is the greatest actor. Okay. So punctuations can what? Totally change the meaning of a sentence. Okay. Now let's see. Mother without her, baby is inactive. Mother without her, baby is inactive. Now let us look at the next one. Mother without her, baby is inactive. See, can you see the difference in meaning? Okay. Okay, now let us see why punctuation is important. Okay. Why it is necessary to use punctuation marks. Okay. So if we don't put punctuation mark, what will happen? Okay, now let us look at a story. Okay, with the help of this story, we'll try to understand why punctuation mark is important. So, Ranadhira was a very arrogant king. He believed his kingdom was the strongest in all of the country. But the reality was that his army had grown weak and lazy over the years. Okay, so have you all understood? So, Ranadhira was a very arrogant king. Okay, so he thought that his country, his kingdom is the strongest. But what was the reality? The reality was that his army had grown weak and lazy over the years. Okay, now let's see. One day, the king received a message from his messenger. Okay, so one day, the king he received a message from his messenger. Veera, the neighboring king, wanted to challenge him in a battle. The king decided to respond to Veera after consulting the royal astrologer. Okay, so what was the message that his messenger gave him? That Veera, the name of the neighboring king, wanted to challenge King Ranadhira in a battle. Okay, let's see. Okay. So what Ranadhira decided? He decided to take decision after talking to the astrologer. Now let's see. Ranadhira then sent his messenger to consult the astrologer whether he should go to war. Okay, Ranadhira, what he did, he sent his minister to consult the astrologer whether he should go to the war. After which the king received his reply on a scroll. You will go, you will return, never by war shall you die. Okay. See, what is the meaning of this sentence now? You will go, you will return, never by war shall you die. See, there is what? No comma in between, isn't it? Can you see a comma in between? No. That means what? By looking at the sentence, we can understand that if you go, you will return. That means you will win in the war and you will return. Never by war shall you die. So you shall never die by war. Okay. So what happened when the king saw this? You will go, you will return, never by war shall you die. Okay. So he thought that if he goes to the war, he will return. That means he will what? Win in the war, win victory, and then he will return back. Never by war shall you die. So he thought that, therefore he went to fight. Okay. Now see, they are fighting the war. Now let's see what happened. Okay. So this is the what? Palace of the king. Okay, so the king has gone for the war. Okay, because the astrologer, he thought that the astrologer said that what? If you go to war also, you won't die, nothing will happen. So he went to the war. And then what happened? The king went ahead and fought with Veera. Alas, he died in the battle. The king had to die. Okay, so what is the actual truth of this? Let us now see. The minister was confused and shocked at the death of the king. He opened the scroll that he got from the astrologer and read the prediction again. He understood. He then understood what the astrologer had actually meant. Okay. See, the minister thought, why would the king go if that means the astrologer's what? Prediction had gone wrong. So the minister opened the scroll to see what was written there. Okay, and after reading that, as soon as he read that, he understood what actually the astrologer had meant. Okay, so what did the astrologer actually mean? You will go, comma, you will return, comma, never by war shall you die. The astrologer had written this, but he made a mistake in putting a comma. Okay, so because of that, all this disaster happened. Okay, so he should have what? You will go, you will return, never. He should have put a comma after never, but then he used a comma before never. Okay, which what? Completely changed the meaning of the sentence. Now, actually, he should have said like this: you will go, you will return, never. By war shall you die. See, a comma can make such a big difference. Comma can even take a person's life. Okay, just like here, the what? King's life has been taken, isn't it? Yes. He sadly realizes that a comma can kill a man. See, true. Now, students, I have a question for you all. All of you take out your clicker devices. So the question is, punctuation is important because, okay, so punctuation is important because, so there are four options. It makes a sentence meaningful, it makes a sentence beautiful, it makes a sentence short, it makes a sentence difficult to understand. So I'll give you all 30 seconds to answer this question. And your time starts now. Okay, students, your time is up and the correct answer here is yes. Option A. Okay, it makes a sentence meaningful. So now let us move on to the next part of today's topic. So commonly used punctuation marks. So let's see what are the commonly used punctuation marks. So and marks. I think all of you know what and marks are. So by looking at the picture near the writing and marks, so we can understand that it's a full stop, isn't it? Yes. Then now look at this. Okay, sorry. And marks means the marks that are used in punctuation. Okay, the first one is period. Okay, question mark, exclamatory mark, comma, semicolon, colon, quotation marks, apostrophe, brackets, ellipsis. Okay, so these are commonly used punctuation marks. Other considerations, capitalization, numbering. Okay, so two other considerations are also capital letters. We need to use capital letters at some places and numbering, proper numbering. So remember when to use capital letters. Okay, so let us see now. So this man who is a teacher is going to teach the students something. Okay, so what is he going to teach? Let's see. So when you start a new sentence, okay, so he is giving us some what? Yes, so he's giving us some tips when to use capital letters. So when you start a new sentence, first one, So you need to use capital letters. So all of us know that when we start a new sentence, we need to use capital letters. Examples, Arun is a good boy. Okay, Arun is a good boy. Here A is capital letter. When you use a proper noun, for proper noun also, for common noun you don't have to use capital letters, but for proper noun you will have to use. Examples, New Delhi is the capital of India. So which is the proper noun here? Yeah, New Delhi. New Delhi. India. Oh sorry, India is also a proper noun. After a full stop also we need to use capital letters. Examples, Anu is a girl. She is very happy today. So here, as from she has to be used in capital letter. Now, when writing titles of institution or organization, the first letter of each word is a capital letter. Yes, like when you have to name what? Your school, suppose your college, okay. So, first letter should be capital. Examples, Guwahati University is one of the best universities in India. So, here, Guwahati University, India. Okay, so students, I have another question for you all here. All of you take out your clicker devices and get ready to answer it. So we use capital letters for, so which is the correct option? You have to tick the correct option. So I'm giving you all 30 seconds to answer this question. And your time starts now. Okay, students, your time is up and the correct answer here is option number B, isn't it? Yes. So now let us move on to the next part. So here a paragraph is given. So we have to what? Use capital letters at the correct place. So remember when to use capital letters. So it was a beautiful Sunday morning. Mihika was ready to catch her train to Chinang. She was on her way to join the Birla Institute for her higher studies. Now see, here I is a capital letter, isn't it? Yes. Then from Sunday, S is a capital letter. Then next, yes, Mihika, M is a capital letter. Then next, yes, Chirang, C is a capital letter. Next, yes, she was on her way to join. Then next, the Birla Institute, the B-I. Okay, so this is the way you have to use capital letters. So end marks, an end mark is a punctuation mark that comes at the end of a sentence. It lets you know when to stop. So we already have what? Seen the end marks, okay? Full stop, comma, all this. So number one, full stop or period. Yes, full stop. Number two, interrogation. Number three, exclamation. Yes, now let us see. The period comes at the end of statements and commands. Okay, when period comes, that means when this full stop comes at the end of statement and commands. It is raining today, full stop. A question mark means something is being asked. Are you going to lunch? Question mark. An exclamation mark shows excitement or feeling. Example, that's such a big surprise! Exclamatory mark. Yes, question mark, full stop. So the period is used for more than just an end mark. So let's see. It is used in abbreviations and initials after titles. I hope all of you know. So for abbreviations also we use full stop. Like 1, 2, 3, 1235 MG Road. Okay, so after road, I have, because we have written road in short form. So when we write RD, not ROD, then we have to use full stop. Then abbreviations. RK Narayan, okay, for abbreviations. So RK Narayan has a different name. So RK Narayan, R and K we are using full stop. Miss Smitha, Miss. Dr. Rajkumar, Road, RK, MS, Doctor. Okay, so here we have used full stop. Period. Okay, so students, here I have a question for you. All of you please take out your clicker devices and get ready to answer it. Okay, so the comma, so this is the comma. The comma is used to, we have seen that end marks, we have seen where end marks are used. Now let us look at the first one, comma. So the comma is used to separate a list. Okay, when we are talking about many things, to separate the list, we use comma. Now my favorite vegetables are potato, lady's finger and drumstick. Okay, here it is also used between the date and the year. Okay, so we all of us know. So it was December 24, 2001. A comma is being used, isn't it? Yes. So December 24, 2001. Okay. So punctuate the following passage appropriately. Okay, so let us see. Albert Einstein was born on 14 March 1879 in the German city of Ulm. His mother never, see, there is no full stop, there is no comma, nothing. So what we have to do is we have to punctuate this paragraph properly. So let's see. First one, A. Okay. So we have to use capital letter. The next one, E. So here also we have to use capital letter. Then which is the next? Yes, comma. Okay, comma is given. The next, German. In German also we have to use capital letter G. Then full stop. Okay, German, in German city of Ulm, full stop. Then next, his mother never thought that he would be famous. Okay, so yes, Ulm, his mother never thought that he would be famous one day. Okay, so here after one day also we need full stop. Then next, on the contrary, she thought Albert, again on, O is capital here. Then comma, on the contrary, after on the contrary use comma. Then A. A has to be capital. And freak, was a, Albert was a freak, full stop. Then to T, T has been capital. To her is said some seemed much too large. Okay, comma. Okay, students. So I hope all of you have understood where we have to use comma and full stop. Okay. So we have now learned about punctuation. Okay, so what happens if you don't use proper punctuation marks? When you don't use proper punctuation mark, it may totally what? Change the meaning of the sentence. Okay, so we have to always use the correct punctuation mark, like we have seen in the story. So what happened? A comma is sometimes what? Sufficient or enough to kill a person. Okay, in the story we have seen that the king had to die, and what was the reason behind his death? A comma. Okay, if the astrologer had written properly, then the king wouldn't have died maybe. Okay, so every sentence should be written correctly and properly, so that no one gets confused with that. Clear, students? So I hope all of you have understood. So now let us look at the summary of today's topic. So commonly used punctuation marks. So what were they? What are they? So end marks. Okay, so they are, first we had seen period, then question mark, exclamation mark or exclamatory mark, comma, Okay, students, so I hope all of you have understood. Why is punctuation important? Punctuation can change the meaning of a sentence. That's why it's important. Okay, so I hope all of you have understood whatever I have taught you in today's class. So we'll meet again in the next class with a more interesting and new topic. So thank you and have a nice day ahead.
Good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome to this special tele-education class. So how are you all? Must be fine. Well, I'm also fine. Well, মৰমৰ ছাত্ৰ বন্ধুসকল, you all know exam is approaching. পৰীক্ষা আহি আছে, হয়নে নহয়? খুব সোনকালে you guys will have to write your final examination. So in fact, are you preparing for that? ভালদৰে prepare কৰি আছা নে নাই? You're doing that? Very good. All right, boys and girls. So, as you all know, all these days we have been revising some grammar topics, right? So, what are we going to do today? Well, we'll continue with the same thing, right? And we will revise a topic, okay? This is grammar or vocab or something else. You have to find out that in a while. In fact, you'll get to know that in a while. So, are we all ready? Yeah? Fine. আৰু সময় নষ্ট নকৰি without wasting any further time, let's begin. আৰম্ভ কৰো আমাৰ আজিৰ sessionটো. So are we all ready? Fine. Here we go. So we will start this session now. And what can we see? It's a functional English session, right? We have been doing that. All right then, to begin with, we can see a nice room where a boy is sleeping. His friend approached him. He sat on the bed near the boy. And now, Satish, why didn't you come to school today? So the boy who's sleeping, his name is Satish. So his friend asked, Satish, why didn't you come to school today? Satish to means school Hanasila. He asked again, Satish, why didn't you come to school today? But Satish is not replying. Why? Satish, why didn't you come to school today? 3 times. But still, Satish is not replying. What's the matter? Ah, finally he replied. Satish is saying, I'm not well. I'm not well. Mukabea. So his friend went near him, put his head on his forehead, and was checking his temperature. Why? What's the matter with you, Satish? কি হল Satish? What's the matter with you? তোমার গা কিয় বেয়া? কি হয়েছে? So the other boy's name is Surender. So Satish replied, I don't know, Surender. It's been pretty bad since the last operation on my leg. মোৰ ভৰিত হোৱা যিটো last operation আছিল তাৰ পিছৰ পৰা মোৰ গা একেবাৰে বেয়া. I get these terrible headaches and then feel as if everything is going dark and silent. I feel miserable. মোৰ এটা বেয়া মূৰৰ বিষ উঠে তাৰপিছত চাৰিওফালে মই অন্ধকাৰ দেখা পাওঁ আৰু চব silent হৈ থাকে যেন লাগে. I feel miserable. Then Satish said, why are you speaking so softly? I can barely hear you. Then Satish Surendra কয় তুমি ইমান লাহে লাহে কিয় কৈ আছা মই তোমাক ভালদৰে শুনাই পোৱা নাই. Then Surendra realized that poor Satish, he had been ill ever since he came back from the holiday in Kashmir the previous year, and with the process he has lost his hearing power also, maybe. So this was Satish holidaying in Kashmir with his father and probably with his brother. Inder, look how the water is rushing at that spot. So Satish point to his elder brother Inder that look how the water is rushing at that spot. Ah, and suddenly Satish fell down. So look at the story now. What happened in that story? There had been an accident when he went hiking with his father and brother Inder. They were crossing a rickety bridge over some rapids. The boy stood and looked down at the swirling water below them. Look how the water is rushing at that spot, Satish pointed out to his brother. Just then his foot slipped and losing his balance he fell into the rapids. His screams were lost in the rushing sound of the water. When he regained consciousness, his legs were in a plaster cast and his head hurt badly. He was bruised and aching all over. Though his legs held, they remained weak, requiring several operations on them. Worse, he suffered frequently from bouts of fever and infections, especially of the ear. So this is something that happened to Satish. He met with an accident, he had some terrible injuries on his legs, and that kept him sick for a long period of time. But what after that? Poor Satis is in hospital. So here is the glossary. What is a glossary? It's the list of words. So rickety bridge is what? Rickety bridge means weak bridge. Bruised is what? Injured. Rapids is what? A dangerous part of a river which flows very fast because it is steep and sometimes narrow. Swelling is what? Twisting circular movement, bouts of fever, periods of illness. Glisten is shown, right? So now we have a question. So are we all ready for it? Final? Let's see. Well, let's do one thing. Let's not answer the question now. We will come back to this question a little bit later. All right? So now what can we see here? There is a question for us in a different song. Let's see. It says, Satis could hear only after he repeated the question 3 times. Because, why? Your options are he was busy in drawing, he was watching TV, he did not notice him, he could not hear him. Satisে তিনিবাৰ কোৱাৰ পিছতে শুনা পাইছিলে. Why? What was Satis doing? That it took Surender to repeat the thing thrice. Surender এটা বস্তু তিনিবাৰ repeat কৰিব লগা হ'ল কিহৰ কাৰণে? Well, because the right answer is yes. Answer is option D. He could not hear him. Satish met with an accident when he was crossing a. Now, if I go back to the story, Satish's accident when he was crossing what? A road at his school, a rickety bridge over some rapids, the mountain path, snow covered Himalaya in Kashmir. We all know he was holidaying in Kashmir, right? So, what's the right answer? The right answer is very good. Option B, rickety bridge over some rapids. So, Satish met with an accident when he was crossing a rickety bridge over some rapids. Now back to Satish and Surinder. We had a flashback of what happened with Satish, right? Then we answered some questions. এতিয়া আমি আহি গলো back to live action. ইয়াত কি হৈছে? Satish and Surinder is talking again, and Surinder is asking, will you come to school tomorrow? Satish tried to nod. Fine, I'll see you in class tomorrow. Satish nodded that he will. So Surinder said, fine, I'll see you in class tomorrow. So Surinder কলে বঢ়িয়া, we'll meet you tomorrow. মই তোমাক কালি ক্লাছত লগ কৰিম তেতিয়াহলে. So saying so, Surinder left. Now Satish is crying. Oh chap. I cannot bear the silence around me. I want to scream. He is suffering from infections of the ear. So because of that, he ভালদৰে শুনা পোৱা নাই ওচৰত কি হৈ আছে, and he is feeling like I cannot bear the silence. মোৰ চাৰিওফালে নিস্তব্ধতাত মই সহ্য কৰিব নোৱাৰো, and he wants to scream. So now here is another paragraph. We had the first paragraph which told us about the story, what happened to Satish. Now it's a different one. It felt as if some huge weight was pressing upon his head, making everything seem far away and silent. He felt helpless and upset at being confined to bed as he was. The silence was the worst. Everything seemed like scenes from some pantomime show. He wanted to scream to break the silence, but didn't. For the 8-year-old boy, this was terrible. Poor Satish, he was only 8 years old, right? So if we look at the story once again, it felt as if some huge weight was pressing upon his head, making everything seem far away and silent. He felt helpless and upset at being confined to bed as he was. The silence was the worst. Everything seemed like scenes from some pantomime show. He wanted to scream to break the silence, but didn't. For the 8-year-old boy, this was terrible. As I have already said, we'll not be answering this type of questions now. So we'll move on to the next part. So answer next part of Tamakane ki ase. So we can see a doctor. Why is my son not able to hear? So this is Sati's father. Sati's father asked doctor, so this is doctor Kudile, why is my son not able to hear? So the doctor replies, it must be due to the medicines given to treat his legs. It may be due to the side effects of the medicines. Mr. Avdar Narayan, your son has been absent to school frequently. Now it's at city school, and the principal is telling city's father that your son has been absent to school frequently. We also find him difficult to hear anything. We cannot keep Satish in this school anymore. Ah, poor Satish. He was ill. Now, excuse me, his teachers are saying that they cannot keep him in school anymore as he is absent for a long period of time and he cannot hear also. Satish father told Satish we will have to look for a new school. এটা আমি তোমালোকৰ এখন নতুন স্কুল বিচাৰিব লাগিব. No, I cannot go to a school where I cannot talk to other children. Satish said, মই এনেকুৱা এখন স্কুলত যাব নোৱাৰো য'ত মই লগত কথা পাতিব নোৱাৰিম. They will make fun of my deafness. মোৰ যিটো শুনিব পৰা শক্তিটো নাই সেইটো তেওঁলোকে they will make fun of. Beta, you have to go to school and learn. What will you do in life if you don't get education? Huh? যদি তোমাৰ শিক্ষাই নাথাকে জীৱনত কি কৰিবা? You'll have to go to school and learn. Okay, let me go to a new school. Then Satish agreed. Okay, let me go to a new school. At a new school, the person is saying, sorry, Mr. Narayan, this school is for normal boys. Why don't you take your son to the school for deaf and dumb children? Now that is bad. The school principal said, tells his father, okay, why don't you take him to a school for deaf and dumb children? Sati's father replies, my son is not dumb, sir. His hearing is little bad. He is under treatment and will soon be fine. So the school officer says, sorry, Mr. Narayan. Now, the next part of the paragraph, it says, though Avtar Narayan felt shattered, he would not give up hope. After the unsuccessful expedition to schools, Satish became very moody. He could not talk freely with anyone because he was unable to hear a single word. His brother Inder sat for hours with him and talked to him, teaching him words and pronunciation. Unable to bear the taunts and teasing of the children in the neighborhood, Satish even avoided going out to play. He was totally avoiding everything. So, here is a question for you all. Let's try and answer it together. For Satish, everything seemed like the scenes from some pantomime show because he was suffering from bouts of fever, he was operated on his legs, he had lost his hearing, he had lost his sight. And the right answer is very good. He had lost his hearing. So that's why. His father and Inder spent time with him every day, talking to him, trying to teach him things. So here comes his father, and he's saying, if you want to get on in life, you have to read a lot. You can learn a great deal by things just by reading. So what his father said, if you want to get on in life, you have to read a lot. You can learn a great deal of things just by reading. যদি তুমি জীৱনত কিবা কৰিব বিচাৰিছা তুমি বহুত বেছি পঢ়িব লাগিব তুমি বহুত বস্তু পঢ়িয়ে শিকিব পাৰিবা so poor Satish started reading. Satish lived through them the life of Garibaldi, translated into Urdu by Lala Lajpat Rai, works of Munshi Premchand, Sarat Chandra, and several others. As if it was a whole world open out for him, Satish became a voracious reader. The books, however, were all serious work meant for older children and sometimes even for adults. They made him feel depressed and left a deep impression upon his sensitive mind. He came to know of another world through them, a world of suffering and anguish. He brooded long and hard about why there was so much suffering in the world, while his own world looked comfortable in comparison. কিন্তু যিবোৰ কিতাপ চেতিছে পঢ়া আৰম্ভ কৰিছিল সেইবোৰ আছিল জ্যেষ্ঠ লোকৰ কাৰণে right for someone who's grown up but he was a boy of just 8 years right he পঢ়াই এইবোৰ পঢ়াৰ লগে লগে তাৰ লাইফৰ প্ৰতি এইটো এফেক্ট কৰা আৰম্ভ কৰিলে. Live through the books means read carefully. Freedom fighters. Munshi Premchand is a great novelist. Sensitive mind is tender, responsive mind. Voracious is restless. Right? So now we'll skip this question and we'll move on to the next part. Satish became a voracious reader because of his father, brother, mother, or teacher. Because of whom? Very good. It's because of his father. Another bout of fever struck Satish and was confined to bed. All he could do was sit and stare out of the window or read. He felt lonely and full of despair at his plight. Ah, nice little bird. So, this bird is Sati's only companion, it seems. One day, when he was looking gloomily into the far corner of the garden, he saw a bird that was unlike any he had ever seen before. It had a longish tail and a black crest. But the most interesting thing about the bird was its restless energy. Its eyes kept darting here and there, its whole body ready for flight any moment. For a long time he stared at the beautiful bird. When it flew away after a glance in his direction, Satish jumped down from his bed, took out his notebook and pencil, sketched the bird from the memory with few deft strokes. He liked the picture and set it against the stack of books on his bedside table. So Sati's father came and he said, "This is an idle pastime. You'd do better to read and get some knowledge." Now, for the first time, we are seeing Sati's mother. So, what is she saying? Why do you take away his source of entertainment? Why are you taking away his only source of entertainment? Oh, Dad, I don't want him to start thinking that he can make a living out of drawing. So was practical. He said, I don't want to make him think that, he can make a living out of drawing. Artists make a pittance and live in poverty. It's no career for a bright boy. He has to study if he has to make something out of his life. Besides, his hearings may return anytime. When it does, he must be prepared to go back to school, mustn't he? Then the mother said, it's been more than 3 years since he became ill. How do you possibly think that he can recover his hearing? Then the father said, why decide that he is going to remain deaf all his life? We must always be optimistic about his chances of recovering. So, after that, what's the next part of the story? Several visits to the doctor followed, with nothing improving for Satish. He remained in his silent world, and the only solace for him being painting. Sketching came naturally to Satish because he was good at Urdu calligraphy. Uh, he managed to paint and draw in spite of his father's opposition. So, what happened after that? Now, why sketching came naturally to Satish? Because he was good at Urdu calligraphy, right? Then Sati's father took away all the notebooks he had drawn because he did not want his son to make a living by drawing. One day, when he was busy mixing color on his palette, he became aware of his father standing at the door. He looked up to find him staring at the painting intently. Satish reddened but continued with his mixing. Slowly, his father came into the room and sat next to his son. So here is the father and the son. You want to do this very badly, don't you? তুমি বহুত কৰিব বিচাৰা নহয় জানো? So what Sati's father did? He brought something. They are for you, Satish. I will find out the best school of arts for you. Ah, now Satish is happy. He hugged his father. You will learn arts and make your life in your chosen field. Thank you very much, Pitaji. So that's what Satish said. So now this is the real picture of Satish. Within a short time, he learned more than just painting. He learned about life. This boy is now popularly known as Satish Gujral. Okay, so this is who Satish Gujral. He is a very famous person, a painter and sculptor, right? All right. So Satish Gujral is among the foremost artists of India. He is one of the few artists who accomplished in several art forms like painting, sculpture, and architecture. Satish Gujral is also a writer. So he is from that's how young boy Satish became Satish Gujral. Okay, so this is a real story. Exhibition of his works have been held all over the world and displayed in prestigious museums like Museums of Modern Art, New York, the Hiroshima Collection, Washington, and National Gallery of Modern Art, New Delhi. He has published 4 books of his works in various arts. He was awarded the Order of the Crown for the best architectural design of the 20th century for his design of Belgian Embassy in New Delhi. He has also been honored with Padma Vibhushan. What is Padma Vibhushan? That is the second highest civil award in India. His life achievement is ample proof that physical disability is no barrier to success. এইটোৱে কি প্ৰুভ কৰে যে শাৰীৰিক অক্ষমতাই সফলতাত বাধা দিব নোৱাৰে. Right? Then there is one more question. We'll skip that for now. So, why Satish was confined to bed? What was the worst thing for him? Why is it so? After that accident, Satish's legs became very weak, requiring several operations. He frequently suffered from bouts of fever, infection of the ear, so he was confined to the bed. The worst thing for him was becoming deaf and could not bear the silence. Then why did Avatar Narayan become angry with the headmasters? Because they refused to let Satish continue in the school. He suggested Narayan to take him to a deaf and dumb school. So, we can explain it like this. Then we can again briefly describe that this way also. So there will be few descriptive answers for that one. So what are we talking about? We are talking about comprehension. So what we were solving all this while, these were question answers, right? We are solving these question answers. So this is what? Comprehension, right? So what are we supposed to do when we answer comprehension? Read the passage carefully, note down the difficult words, look at the dictionary, read the questions carefully, right? Answer the questions in your own words. That is something we are supposed to do with comprehension. And one last thing before we wind up, we saw 2 boys in this one. One is Satish and the other one is elder brother Inder. Satish became Satish Gujral, and whatever his elder brother, it's a fun fact, his elder brother Inder, went on to become the Prime Minister of India. In the year 1997, he was the Prime Minister of India. All right then. So we'll wind up here for now. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Can I help you? Yes, please. I want to buy some fruits. How much do apples cost?
They are 120 rupees a kilo.
I would like to buy
Good afternoon, my dear students. How are you all? Must be fine. Before we start, let me welcome you to this special tele-education session, right? So, boys and girls, your exams are nearing. So, are you people studying at home? You're doing very good. All right then. So, what have we been doing all these days? Do you remember? We were discussing quite a few grammar topics. In our last session, we talked about what? We talked about some vocab-based stuff related to one-word substitutes. Remember that? Good. Well, with one-word substitute, I'm left with the exercise portion for that, and I'll be discussing that with you all very soon. But for today, I have another lesson on vocabulary for you all. So what are we going to do? We will be discussing that now. So are we all ready? Yeah? Fine then. Here we go. This is going to be a function in English class. So what's happening now?
Can I help
Here
you?
is a conversation for you all. Please listen to it carefully.
yes, please. I want to buy some fruits. How much do apples cost?
They are 120 rupees a kilo.
I would like to buy 1 kilo of apples.
Anything else, madam?
How much do the grapes cost?
The black ones are 50 rupees a kilo and the green ones are 40 rupees a kilo. They are very sweet.
I want to take half a kilo of black and green grapes each.
Okay, madam.
Thank you. I want to buy some flowers too. Give me a bunch of roses, please.
The red or the yellow?
Oh, red, please. They are lovely.
Beautiful red roses. Is that all?
Yes, that's all.
That's 213 rupees, madam.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
So we saw a conversation, right? Now let's look at another one. This is in a shoe shop, right? So the shopkeeper says, "Good morning, ma'am. How can I help you today?" "Hello, I'm looking for a pair of shoes." "Okay, what size do you need?" "6 or 7, it depends on how it fits." "So, do you like these ones?" "I really like the style, but I don't like the color. Do you have them in white?" Then the person says, "One moment. Here you are. Would you like to try them on?" Then the lady says, "Thanks. How do you feel?" So the shopkeeper is asking, "How do you feel?" "Perfect. How much a day?" "They are rupees 1500." That's a bit expensive. Have you got less expensive shoes? Would you like to try the silver shoes? They are on sale. Great, can I try them on? Yes, you can. So here is the conversation. So the shopkeeper's name is Pradeep and the lady's name is Sahana. So have a look at their conversation. Pradeep says, "Good morning, ma'am. How may I help you today?" Sahana says, "Hello, I'm looking for a pair of shoes." Pradeep replies, "Okay, what size do you need?" Sahana says, "Six or seven. It depends on how it fits." Pradeep says, Do you like these ones?" Sahana says, "Yes, I really like the style, but I don't like the color. Do you have them in white?" So Pradeep says, "One moment. Here you are. Would you like to try them on?" Sahana says, "Thanks. How do you feel it?" Sahana, that's what asked by Pradeep, to which Sahana replies, "Perfect. How much are they?" Then the Pradeep replies, saying it's 1500. Now, there is one thing I need to look you all to I want you all to look at. আমার প্ৰথম শব্দটো আছিল কি? Looking for, depends on, try them on, right? These kind of words are called what? They are called phrasal verbs. What do we call them? We call them phrasal verbs. Now, what is phrasal verb? Phrasal verbs consist of a verb and a preposition or an adverb. Phrasal verbs কি থাকে? আমাৰ তাত এটা verb থাকে, a preposition or adverb. So now that brings us to a question. Let's see, what do you have in store for us? So we have a question coming our way. So to answer this question, I'm going to give you 40 seconds and your time starts now. All right, then it's time up. And the question was, why don't you dash the shirt? Answer is option A. All right, try on. Now look at this one. Looking for, depends on, try on. Now, with what we have done here, with the verb looking, we have added the preposition for. Similarly, with depends, we have added the preposition on. With try, we have another preposition on, right? So looking, depends, and try, they are what? They are verb, prepositions and verb, right? So when we have a preposition and a verb together, that becomes what? Very good. You guessed it right, it's phrasal verbs, right? Now there is one more question coming your way. So let's answer this now. Again, to answer this time around, it will be slightly tricky. So my tomar 10 second basic idim. I'm giving you 50 seconds and your time starts now. All right then, it's time up. So we need to find out the answer. I don't know where my book is. I must dash it. Look after, look for, look into, look down. What could be the right answer? We are looking for a phrasal verb, right? আৰু আমাৰ কনটেক্সটো হ'ল যে বিচাৰিব লাগে চ' সেইটো হৈ গ'লে কি হ'ব লুক আফটাৰ মানে টেক কেয়াৰ কৰা লুক ইনটু মানে এটা পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ বস্তুত চোৱা লুক ডাউন মানে তলৰ ফালে চোৱা চ' the obvious answer is yes very good it's option B look for I don't know where my book is I must look for it right now moving on so with this verb look by adding these prepositions we can create quite a few phrasal verbs এটা ভাৰ্বৰ লগত বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ preposition add কৰি we can create a lot of phrasal verbs let's say for example in this word our verb here is look and we have prepositions like into up at after for and even a phrase in forward to so by adding all these words one by one with the word look, we can create quite a few, in fact, 6 different expressions. The meanings বোৰ different হ'ব. Root word এটাই আছে, তাৰ লগত prepositions to change কৰি, we can create a lot of new words. So let's have a look at some of the examples. Say look and up. So what is look up? Look at the story that is displaying in the classroom. A boy stood up in a class and says, Ma'am, I don't know the meaning of the word pleasure. So the ল'ৰাজনে কি ক'লে মেম মই pleasure wordটো meaning নাজানো so এতিয়া চাওঁচোন what the madam replies look up the dictionary for the meaning look up the dictionary for meaning right so what's that look up it means its meaning is happiness so he looked up you know in the dictionary and what did he got the meaning is happiness right so look up means what refer to look up or auto refer to when you have to mean something like referring to the phrase you'll be using is look up right now what's the next word after up look at so after look plus up we have a new expression new phrasal verb now look at is another one so there are two lines where look at is used first line just look at the line at the blackboard which says children look at the animals in the zoo with interest and what the madam is saying children look at the board and read the sentence what madam is asking the children that to look at the board and read the sentence now the word we are looking at is what look at so what is look at look at means observe closely it means observe closely ভালদৰে চোৱা right so after at what's next it's after look after right so there's a boy and his mother and the boy is saying don't worry mom I'll look after you when you grow old so ল'ৰাজনে তাৰ মাকজনীক কৈছে যে you don't worry I'll look after you when you grow old so what is look after look after means so mother replies thank you son so look after means take care of মানুহৰ যত্ন লোৱা শুশ্ৰূষা কৰা you know that কাৰোবাৰ কাৰণে কেয়াৰ কৰা এই গোটেইখিনি বস্তুৱে কি মিন কৰে look after means take care of you know মানুহৰ যত্ন লোৱা বা তেওঁৰ বিষয়ে চিন্তা কৰা it's all that will fall under the meaning of this word look after understood everyone look after stands for take care of okay now moving on look forward to look forward to you know that's the fourth word in our list so এতিয়া চাওঁ আছোন এই 4 নম্বৰ wordটোৱে আমাৰ কাৰণে কি স্পেচিয়েল বস্তু লৈ আহিছে a tour has been organized so we are back to the classroom where the madam is saying a tour has been organized we eagerly look forward to it One of the boys says, we eagerly look forward to it. We eagerly look forward to it. আমি অধীর আগ্রহেৰে বাট চাই আছো এইটো কাৰণে। We eagerly look for it. Look forward to it. We eagerly look forward to it. So, অৰ্থ কি হ'ব? মই মাত্ৰ কি কৈছিলো? অধীৰ আগ্ৰহেৰে বাট চাই থকা। So, anticipate with pleasure. The meaning of look forward to is to anticipate with pleasure. খুব উৎসাহেৰে আশা পালি ৰখি থকা, কিবা বস্তু এটাৰ কাৰণে অপেক্ষা কৰি থকা। Anticipate with pleasure. Right? Now moving on, what's the next word? It's for. So look for, what's look for? What are you looking for? I'm looking for my doll. I can't find it. So look for, you all have understood. We have answered the question also. So look for the অৰ্থটো কি হ'ল? Looking for, search or seek. বিচৰা। যেতিয়া কিবা এটা বস্তু বিচাৰিবা, the expression used for that is look for. যদি মই কৈছে মোৰ পেনটো হেৰাইছে, মই পেনটো বিচাৰিবলৈ আছে what? I have lost my pen. I'm looking for it. What are you looking for? I'm looking for my pen. So look for is what? Is like search or seek, right? Now the last word is look into. What is look into now? So we can see a room where two-person are sitting. One man is saying, Mrs. Sarita, you are in the admission committee. Please look into every application before you give the admission. So probably this is a school's meeting where the lady's name is Mrs. Sarita and the person concerned is telling her, Mrs. Sarita, you are in the admission committee. Please look into every application before you give admission. Look into. So what does look into stands for? Lady replies, okay, sir. Look into means consider. ভালদৰে চোৱা. Look into means what? ভালদৰে পৰীক্ষা নিৰীক্ষা কৰি consider কৰি চোৱা. Look into the matter, matterটো ভালদৰে চাই লোৱা, consider কৰা, right? So that means look into. Understood everyone? Good. Now this brings us to a question. Let's see how you all fared it. So this again is something that is asking you for the meaning. So it's a memory based thing. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give you 50 seconds for this and your time starts now. All right, it's time up and it's time for you to tell me the right answer. It's what? Look at is observe closely. Okay, so observe something, right? Find it. Now here is an activity for you all. Identify the phrasal verbs in the following sentences. So we have to identify the phrasal verbs. A rooster wakes me up every morning. A rooster wakes me up every morning. So where is the phrasal verb here? Very good. It's wakes me up. So that is the phrasal verb. Then, may I get in, ma'am? May I get in, ma'am? So how can we find out? We need to find out the preposition and the verb together, right? So where can we find that? Very good. It's here, right? So may I get in? That is a phrasal verb. Then the next one, I will say some sentences, take them down. I will say some sentences, take them down. Where is that? Very good. It's take them down. Take them down means you don't have to wrestle and take them down. Take them down means what? Note them down. Alright? So take them down is another expression for note down. Fireman helps put out the fire. Fireman helps put out fire. So the word is very good. It's put out. So there is one more question. Let's try and do it quickly. So this is going to be a simple one. So you'll have 30 seconds and your time starts now. All right, it's time up. And right answer is option B. Very good. Fine then. So here is another exercise, right? So, but then we are running out of time. So what I'll do, I'll not do the exercise now. And in fact, we'll skip the questions also. We will do that portion in our next session. But before we end up, let's summarize. Okay, we learned about phrasal verbs, which is verb plus preposition. So we take out, phrasal verb is what? Take out, there's a list of something, take out, to remove something from inside. Set up is what? To start. Take off is to remove. Lie down is to take rest. Look into is to observe keenly. Get up is to wake up. Right? So hope you all have understood. We'll continue with something new in our next session. So we'll wind up here for now. See you next time. Thank you.